Michael, we've been doing mock draft madness every day, leading us up to this day. Today, we focus in on pick number 7 and the Washington Commanders.
I'm so ready.
So, look, let's just start with your opinion on who you think is the best player that fits what Washington is trying to do. Like, you see what Adam Peters has done this offseason. They kicked out the DC. They kicked out the OC. Based on the moves they made in free agency, what player is the best fit?
Well, I think you can't go wrong with the best edge rusher. And I know they added edge rushers in free agency, Adam, but that's a premium position in the NFL. They only have one guy under contract once next year ends, and there's a ton of talent up there that's going to be available for him at 7. We don't know exactly who's going to fall. Is it Bailey? Is it Bain? Is it Reese? Who knows? It could be any of the three. If one of those three is available, though, it's hard not to justify that as the best player you can get at that moment.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'd go edge 1. I would probably go linebacker 2, and then you start to have a serious conversation about running back, because that is still a position that I think they can upgrade. Now, I've been talking about somebody that gets cut late, before training camp as a post-June 1 cut, or even later than that possibly as someone that comes in and competes in this running back room. But also, it's hard not to fall in love with Jeremiah Love.
He's obviously a great player, and he'd obviously make this offense better. You asked, what does this team need to achieve its goals next year? And they don't need a running back, right? Because if the quarterback is good, and I think the quarterback's good, and if he plays 15 games, and I think he can play 15 games, we've seen this offense can get where it needs to go. You don't need him. It would be nice. It would be a luxury. But we have a defense that doesn't need luxuries. They need players right now. I think it would be irresponsible to ignore those needs to say, what if we got Jaden Daniels like a nice accessory? He's good enough. The offense is good enough. And by the way, if he doesn't play 15 games this year, and if he struggles, it doesn't matter how good your running back is, you're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I've been promoting best defensive player available for Washington, because the last 2 seasons, you blame the losses on the defense. The offense at times last year struggled, but most of that was due to injury. The year before, the offense was lights out all season long. Give Dan Quinn as much talent as possible on the defensive side of the ball. But Michael, you have a fan base that's also craving help at wide receiver.
No question, and I don't think there's, I know some people love Carnell Tate, so don't take this the wrong way, and he'd be a great addition. I don't think there's a receiver good enough to justify with the number 7 this pick in this draft. Now, we were talking about all these Ohio State guys. I haven't heard you say Caleb Downs yet, and I love me some Caleb Downs. Why haven't you said Caleb Downs yet, Adam?
Because the question originally was, based off the moves Adam Peters made, what's the best fit for Washington?
He'd be a great
They
fit.
brought in Will Harris last year. They brought in Nick Cross this year. Those are Adam Peters guys. I don't believe that Adam Peters spends money in free agency on 2 positions and then with a top 10 pick drafts that position.
As disrespectful to put those guys in a sentence with my guy, Caleb Downs. He's not just a safety. He patrols the backfield, right? Like, we live in the Sean Taylor universe. Everything's going to be compared to Sean Taylor. This is the closest thing we've seen in an approachable, draftable position for the Washington Commanders. He is a difference maker back there. Those guys are good football players. They're NFL starters. You need 11 NFL starters on defense. This is a difference maker. This is a guy who makes everybody around him better. To compare him to the guys they have right now is disrespectful to Caleb Downs.
You are a big fan of Caleb Downs. I'll tell you right now, he's not as good of a prospect of Sonny Styles. That is the pick if you really want to know what Washington should do at number 7. Downs and Styles may both be available. I'm going Styles 10 times out of 10.
Adam Peters is going Styles, I believe, 10 times out of 10. Peters loves athleticism, right? We're talking 2 different things. There are different philosophies in the draft. Sonny Styles is an athlete. Adam Peters loves athletes. The measurables are off the charts. The combine was great. He just pops on tape. He's everything Adam Peters loves. Caleb Downs, you grind on the film, Caleb Downs gets better every time you watch him. The instincts are fantastic. The way he elevates guys around him, the way he knows ball is different. There's not right and wrong here, and I agree with you. Adam Peters will go Sonny Styles. I think, like, if you're asking me predict who they pick at number 7, Sonny Styles is an exceptionally safe choice. But man, Caleb Downs, I like football, and this guy plays football at a really high level.
So do you like Caleb Downs more than Styles and Arvell Reese?
Well, Reese is an edge rusher, right? Like, I just think if we're doing positional rankings, Edge rusher is so important. We talked about this all offseason, right? The secondary didn't get worse last year. The pass rush did. And as a result, the secondary looked worse. You can't cover an NFL wide receiver for 5 seconds. You can't do it. Nobody can do it. And when this group didn't get home late in the season, nothing else mattered. So edge rusher, yes. But just in a vacuum, like who's the best football player? Yeah, I think Downs is the best football player of the 3 Ohio State guys.
Wow.
I do.
That's big stuff, Michael. I cannot agree with you on that one. I'm still a Styles guy, and I think Reese is going to have a long, very good NFL career. Crosstalk here on The Fan, focusing in on that number 7 overall pick. Who is the guy that you would grab in a second if they slid to 7? Yeah,
that's why this is so fascinating. The only guy who you know isn't going to be on the board when the Commanders pick is Fernando Mendoza. Every other player could be on the board when the Commanders pick, which I think is kind of a statement that there is no obvious, this is the second best player in the draft. Like, oh my gosh, if that guy slides, how could you do it? I would love a Sonny Styles pick. I would love a David Bailey pick. I would love an Arvell Reese pick. Obviously, you've heard I would love a Caleb Downs pick. Any of those guys could be available, and somebody's going to be available. I don't think there's a consensus. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a consensus second best player in this draft.
I'm not sure there is. I think a lot of people would point to Jeremiah Love, and we talked about this just a second ago, but I do think if he's there at 7, Adam Peters is going to consider it, or maybe even better for this franchise, a chance that he picks up the phone and somebody calls up to go get Jeremiah Love, and we get a second pick in the first round or a second pick in the second round because we just don't have enough top picks in the first 100.
Let's talk about big name players versus like depth players, because if they move from 7 to 10, you're still going to get an elite talent. We'll still have a guy we're happy with. But if he moves from 7 to 30, 40, and 78, like a 3-pick package, how are you going to feel about that?
Very good. Very good. I'm locked in on the top 100 picks are going to be impactful players, and that's why you have a good scouting department. And look, Adam Peters will be judged on this draft. There's no doubt about that. This is the 3rd draft. This is the 3rd free agent class. It's enough to build up your franchise. It's enough to have the building blocks, to have starters that you brought in on both sides of the ball. He will be judged on this draft, and that's why I think in his mind he knows, I need more picks.
He does need more picks, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because I think you are a traditional Commanders fan, and Commanders fans historically are starstruck with top 10 guys, elite guys. So I love hearing you say, I'd take a big package of second rounders as well, because I think that would be a very good thing for the franchise.
Yeah. I think I would really like to get the most picks in the top 100. But number 7 is so interesting because, it's not like a top 5 pick, but it is a top 10 pick. You're going to get a blue chip piece there. You'd probably like to sit and pick and just have the best player available fall to you at number 7. But it's going to be very interesting to see what Adam Peters does, because I think best case scenario for Washington is there's a run on offensive players, a second quarterback in the top 10, Jeremiah Love taken, a wide receiver maybe 2, and then Adam Peters looks and he goes, man, every defensive player that I like is still available.
Man, I feel bad for the team that moves up to the top 10 to get Ty Simpson. They are in for a world of hurt there. But you're absolutely right. Like, the one certainty here is whoever they pick, Adam Peters will tell us that was his second best player on the board during the press conference.
Yeah. I mean, he wins press conferences.
He's good.
Except for the end of the year press conference. I felt like he lost that one, and I lost a little respect for everybody in that front office that they had that press conference and then fired Cliff Kingsbury. I'm going to be a Cliff guy for life, Michael.
I loved Cliff Kingsbury. You don't have to defend that. And then he goes to the combine, does a presser, cuts the center the next day. He's got a history making big moves after he talks to the media.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we are the media.
That's
We're
us.
The ones dealing with it. That's MP on the mic. I'm Adam Epstein. You're listening to Awadd Radio here on the new Sports Radio 910 The Fan, now at 105.1 FM.